Well, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. Glad you could join me today. We're going through the book of Esther. We just started yesterday. Really didn't get into the text at all yesterday. Just talked about King Xerxes. There's been some movies made about Xerxes and his clash with the Greek kings. And they portray him more, they paint him in gold with all this piercings and different things. I don't know if that's true or not. One of the things I think they got right is that they've referred to him as the God King. And that's how Xerxes thought of himself. But he was very powerful. As I mentioned yesterday, he came very close to cutting off Western civilization before Western civilization started. Had he conquered Greece, and he had a bigger army and a bigger navy, but had he conquered Greece and went on up, Western civilization as we know it would have never existed. Well, we're going to read in the book of Esther how that Xerxes was powerful enough that one of his advisors, not even Xerxes, but one of his advisors under Xerxes' control and power could have destroyed the Jewish nation, could have destroyed, or we would not have had the Jewish nation. There would not have been, of course, the birth of the Savior, because this is before then. And so pretty significant events happening here, but we'll see how God will intervene, even though God's name is not mentioned. But you can see God at work all through it. But let's read chapter 1 and how Esther was even made possible. This is chapter 1 of Esther. This is what happened during the time of Xerxes, the Xerxes who ruled over 127 provinces, stretching from India to Cush. That means all the Middle East up to India, up into Asia. At that time, King Xerxes reigned from his royal throne in the citadel Susa. And in the third year of his reign, he gave a banquet for all his nobles and officials. The military leaders of Persia and Media, the princes and the nobles of the princes were present. For a full 180 days, he displayed the vast wealth of his kingdom and the splendor and the glory of his majesty. When these days were over, the king gave a banquet lasting 7 days in the enclosed garden of the king's palace for all the people from the least to the greatest who were in the citadel Susa. The garden had hangings of white and blue linen, fastened with cords of white linen and purple material to silver rings on marble pillars. This area, the Persians were known as having beautiful gardens, and he was having a party, and he had all of his officials there. And it went on for days and days and days. And I won't read the rest of the chapter. You may want to read it yourself. It's very interesting. But he, after a while, he begins to brag about how beautiful his queen Vashti is. And so he calls for Vashti. And he calls for her to come to the banquet, and he wants to show her off about how beautiful she is. And Vashti is not going to be degraded like that. She's not going to be used like a sex object like that. And so she refuses. And so this became a problem because some of Xerxes' advisors came to him and said, "You can't let this go. You can't let your wife defy you, or every wife in the kingdom will defy you." Now, I personally kind of admire Vashti for not allowing herself to be put up as a sex object before a bunch of drunken officials. But it was a real problem in that day, and so King Xerxes banishes her. She's kicked out of the kingdom. She's away from his presence, and she's no longer queen. And that's going to open the door for another queen. which is where Esther's going to come in. We'll read about that later. But now, my guide, and I don't know how she would know this, and I don't think she did, but she talked about the fact that he had done that with Vashti and then went and tried to conquer Greece. And when they got defeated in the Aegean Sea with the ships, he was so distraught he went back and got another wife. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was kind of interesting for her take on her part. But we see that the setting has happened. Xerxes has banished Vashti. He feels badly about it after he does it, but he realizes he's pressured by the men to do that because they say, you can't keep your wife under control, and she wouldn't know what you say. The rest of us have no chance. And so she's banished. And so we're going to see how they're going to pick another queen, and we're going to see how they're going to pick Esther in the future. And so but you see God at work here. Because as Vashti stays queen, Esther doesn't have a chance to influence Xerxes. So we'll look again tomorrow and read some more of Esther, and I hope you have a very good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.